So Power Rangers Prime issue 3 is finally out now, and this issue once again was another fantastic issue from Melissa and Boom Studios. The artwork was really great, the writing was really great, and of course it's setting up a bunch of stuff in the background that you really have to pay attention to with what's going to be important moving forward within this story. And there's some things that you blink and you miss it or it goes over your head, but this issue was once again another fantastic issue. So let's get into Power Rangers Prime issue 3. So the issue opens up with a flashback over 2 years ago, and Mark has begun starting his internship at the Angel Grove Museum, something that's a very special privilege to him because the Eltarians have this such a tight rule over Earth that if you're a refugee you don't get special privileges like that. The Eltarians are the superior race, so anyone who's not from Earth or not Eltarian, well, they're kind of at the bottom of the food chain. So Mark has been given this very special opportunity. Now, within the background where Mark is getting the info bomb from one of the workers there, you see some really interesting figures in the background on this one page. And I don't know if it's an intentional, I don't know if it's a cameo that Michael might have thrown in there, but you see this person in this military uniform, and beside that person in the military uniform kind of looks like Grace Sterling if you look at the haircut. So is Grace Sterling in this Prime universe, or is this just a fun little cameo? I honestly don't know. But Mark gets the tour around the Angel Grove Museum and he notices this door open, and the worker's quick to say, oh, you can't go in there, that's only for certain people. Don't abuse your little privilege badge that we gave you because we don't want this opportunity to get taken away from you. It'd be really sad. And Mark's like, all right then. But then on the next page, once the door's closed and you see what's inside the room, you see a power coin. More importantly, the Triceratops power coin, which raises a lot of questions within this universe because it is the Triceratops power coin. So that was Billy's old power coin. That's what a lot of people identify it as. Again, this is a brand new universe, so we don't know who created the power coins in this universe. Was it Ninja or was it someone else? But how did the Eltarians get a hold of it? Because when you look at it, it looks like it's been torn apart. It looks like it's been shattered. So this power coin looks like it's been through the rigmarole with all the damage it's taken, and it looks like it's slowly being pieced together or it's being dissected for further study. So how the heck did the Eltarians get this Triceratops power coin? That is the main question on my mind. So back in the present day, Valentina has returned to John's apartment, and it looks like she's going to be helping out our heroes after all. But she does give a warning to John by saying, hey, your obsession with the Rangers has escalating into you harboring a future. You kind of need to stop this. And I am curious about John's obsession with Power Rangers and stuff like that because it hasn't fully been explained, and I'm sure we'll get an answer within the next couple of issues with why he's so obsessed with the Rangers, why he has a fascination with them. But I'm sure we'll get that flashback later down the line. So I can keep asking questions for hours, for days, within every single video, but I'm sure we're getting that character backstory later down the line, probably within the next issue or so. So we'll definitely be seeing that in the nearby future. So after that, you have Valentina reintroducing herself to Lauren and trying to call a truce, but they are still butting heads as Valentina wants to get rid of Lauren soon as possible, and Lauren's like, look, I'm not leaving until I get my family back because apparently they're in a detention center here in Angel Grove and I'm not leaving without them. And Valentina's like, great, now we're going to do a jailbreak. That's going to go just fine. And Lauren says, I'll leave you out of it. I just need my powers back. And then Valentina snaps back by saying, look, you're a ranger. Don't your powers come from within? And then the two have this really funny back and forth with Orion and Mark just watching from like the side, where Lauren's like, no, I need a morpher. It's a key to activate it. And Valentina's like, oh, great, they have tools now. So it's just this back and forth between the two of them. They got a laugh out of me. That is for sure. But when Mark says, hey, if you need a morpher, I know where you can find one, and then he shows his key card that he was given in the flashback just earlier ago. So it looks like they're going to be using Mark's key card to sneak into the museum to get a morpher that they're looking for. Which does make me wonder, because we did see the Eltarians having a power coin hidden within the museum, so it's of course plausible that they've got a morpher somewhere that Mark would be aware of. Now, it also does make me wonder, does the Eltarians have a collection of morphers they've gathered, or have they created their own? Which would be plausible as well. I mean, they did create the VR Troopers power set, it looks like, with the Eltarian forces, so they were the people that created those powers within this universe, it seems like. So no doubt about it, they probably have their own morphers, or they started creating their own prototype of morphers to harness morphing grid energy. Now, the next page took me by surprise as we see the original command center from MMPR, and in this universe, it's actually the Angel Grove Museum, and that took me by surprise, but it also doesn't surprise me that the Eltarians would have probably set up this original command center to probably be a museum, but also be some kind of possible base of operations that's probably underground downstairs, who knows, but it was cool to see this iconic building show up in this universe once again, because, you know, it's an iconic landmark in Power Rangers, you gotta have it, of course. So we then follow Bulk and Rita, and it looks like they're having a walk through the museum, and they stumble across a very familiar character from the Power Rangers universe, and that is RJ. RJ in this universe took me by surprise, because as soon as we see him in this like wizard robe where he's wearing this blue and purple outfit. It's got a bunch of chains or like straps attached to it, and I lost my shit for a second. I thought, holy crap, this is Ivan Ooze. And then I read the speech bubble and he said, my name's RJ. And I was like, well, that's cool enough. I like RJ. I'm glad that RJ is in this universe. But instead of being a stoner pizza guy, I guess he's a stoner meditation guy who teaches people meditation. So he starts talking to Rita saying, oh, if you're here, you get a discount if you bring a friend. And then Rita just stares at him with this fiery look in her eyes. And then on the next page, she's burning everything down to the ground, which is kind of funny because she's just staring at RJ. And then on the next page, she's just burning it all down. And Rita's response is, the world is a cancer. And although this was meant to be a joke or not, this next line did get a chuckle out of me, where Bulk says, I really hope you didn't kill anyone. And Rita's response is, trust me, I tried. So Rita's magic is still not working because of using fractured pieces of a morpher to put it together, so the wand is still a little bit finicky. And Rita then asks Bulk by saying, who's in charge of this world? Who's in charge here? And Bulk responds by saying, well, the Eltarians, they colonized Earth ages ago. And Rita's like, the Eltarians? And realizing that she's been freed from one prison to end up in another one, Rita comes to the conclusion that she's going to need to fix her wand and get more powerful magic to conquer this planet. So she drags Bulk along, but while she's having a villain monologue, Bulk is using his Pip-Boy from Fallout to contact the VR Troopers to give away their location where they are right now. And I like how he calls it a watch because, yeah, it does look like a Pip-Boy from Fallout. It's a really cool design that he's got on him. That tech is really neat. But Rita then asks Bulk saying, tell me, what do you know of the Power Rangers? And we don't get a lot of that conversation. Unfortunately, it cuts off there. And then when we see them again, they're off doing their own thing. So I do wonder if Rita got an explanation or got an answer for that question. Because when we see Rita and Bulk again within the next couple of pages, we see that Rita is just able to use her magic to sort of turn off all the security alarms within the museum, and Bulk questions how she can do that, and Rita explains that it's the morphing grid energy that she has. And here we learn a little bit of this Rita's universe's backstory, where it's much similar to the Rita we've followed in the comics for a really long time, where we find out that this Rita was infused with morphing grid energy to put on a path of good, much like the Rita we kind of know now. Ultimately, it didn't really work because, Rita ended up turning evil, but her being infused with morphing grid energy did provide some use. But Bulk tries to rebuttal her by saying the morphing grid is a myth, which I guess is whatever lies the Eltarians have been feeding him, or the morphing grid isn't really real in this universe, it's just something they've heard about. But I love Rita's response by saying, were you born a moron or did the Eltarians instill it into you? Which definitely got a chuckle out of me. But there's an interesting stuff you see within this page when you see Rita breaking into the museum, because you see this giant power egg, or it's not a power egg, it's like this egg-like shape that looks like she's cracked open, and beside it you see all these different crystals. Are these meant to represent Zeo crystals? Are they just meant to be normal crystals or power crystals? It's hard to say. But also you see a bunch of fossils on the wall in the background as well, so whether these are Easter eggs, nice little background things, you can definitely tell that the power rag or the egg in the background in the crystals are meant to represent the dino crystals that the Rangers got, or even the Zeo crystals they would have later down the line. So I really like that attention to detail. While this is all going on, we follow our main heroes who have snuck into the same museum with the help of Mark's card, which is a very dangerous thing that Mark is doing, because one of the things that's pointed out is that Mark's card could possibly be tracked, which is no doubt about it going to be a plot point moving forward within the next few issues, but also they can take his internship away because Mark is a refugee. So those actions are definitely putting him in danger while doing this. But there's also other things we learn about within this issue, some things that have been hinted at, like Valentina's father is meant to be really high up, which is why she seems to have a stick up her ass most of the time with how she acts. And Valentina, I feel like she's like probably the most unlikable character within this bunch. I mean, with how she acts and how she treats everyone, she comes off as such an asshole. Because you have this one scene where Lauren and Valentina are looking at these dinosaur fossils, and Valentina makes a comment by saying these are the original Titans of Earth, they had so much raw power, they could do basically whatever they want. And Lauren makes a comment by saying, yeah, they had raw power, but it depends on what you do with it. And Lauren then makes another passing comment at Valentina by saying, it sounds like you want a lot of power. And Valentina says, yes, I want power like you, but my intentions aren't probably noble like how you want to use power. So that right away kind of establishes what kind of character she is. And I know she'll probably get some growth. I know she'll probably come around. But these first couple of issues introducing Valentina, it makes her pretty unlikable. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, arsehole characters are loved to be hated, or people just love arsehole characters in general. It's just Valentina, with how she's been acting around our main cast, and especially Lauren. She's very hostile towards Lauren, and I get that. She's a ranger, she's a fugitive, she probably can't trust her. But there's just some scenes where Melissa is writing her that makes her come off very unlikable with how she treats everyone else. And I guess Melissa's doing a good job if I'm not warming up to this character right away. So our heroes soon stumble across Rita Repulsa, and the scene where they first stumble across her, there's this really interesting panel that lines up with one of my predictions that I made a while ago with certain color palettes being around the Rangers. You've got a panel where John has a black background, Valentina has a yellow background, Lauren has a red one, Mark has a blue one, and Orion has a pink one. Kind of like something I predicted earlier within my previous video I did trying to predict all the colors for the Rangers. So I might be onto something after all. So Rita soon stumbles across our Rangers and she says, it looks like we've got company, and Lauren right away knows what's up. She says, you need to run because can you smell the stink of magic on her? And Rita notices that Lauren is the one that has Morphin Grid energy and gave her the ingredients for the wand. And right away, Lauren jumps into it and starts throwing hands with Rita right away. And it's a really cool fight scene. I mean, Rita is sort of ducking and weaving out of the way and using her magic to counter, but Lauren is able to get a kick to Rita's face. So it's a really cool fight scene. And I like how Lauren is just going hands-on with the combat, even without her powers. And it's something that Rita even points out during that fight, saying that Lauren doesn't have any powers, but she still fights like a ranger. And I really like that attention to detail. So while the fight is going on, the VR troopers soon rock up at the museum, and they're the ones going to be handling the mission. So they were told to leave the mission to them. So you've got the original 3 VR troopers, Caitlin, JB, and Ryan, of course. Caitlin gets name dropped in this issue, JB doesn't, but seeing how we get name drops for the other VR troopers, no doubt about it, it's them. And the page where we have the VR troopers outside the museum ready to go inside, it kind of establishes what kind of character Ryan is and how he's a government lapdog for the Altarian forces, because you have this one scene where Caitlin says, hey, are you fine with doing this? And Ryan says, look, our main priority is the Ranger. But Caitlin's like, hey, shouldn't you be worried about your best friend and your girlfriend? And Ryan doesn't really give a response about that. He just kind of morphs with his helmet on and says, John should know better that he's harvesting a fugitive. So this is on him for doing it. He should have known what he was doing. So it kind of shows that Ryan in this universe is like all action. He takes the job very seriously. So it makes me wonder where the VR troopers are going to be moving forward in this series, because a lot of people are predicting they're going to become the good guys. They might be the anti-heroes. I know we're getting that Power Rangers and VR Troopers one-shot on Free Comic Book Day. So I wonder if that's going to establish more lore within this universe or set up something else for later down the line. I'm not entirely sure. But that one page gives us a good glimpse into what Ryan is like in this universe, where he's following the government's orders, he's following the soldier orders. Like, he's a good soldier. That's the best way to sum it up. He's a good soldier that will follow orders and make sure the job is done and focus on the mission. So that kind of sets up what kind of character he is. So the battle between Rita and Lauren continues, and it gets pretty hectic. I mean, debris and smoke is getting kicked up all over the place. It gets so bad that Mark has to take his rebreather, his asthma puff, or whatever you want to call it, his inhaler that he uses to get some water because he's part Eltarian. So I guess all that smoke and debris is making things hard for him to breathe with all the air getting all dry. So while this is all going on, the fight takes another turn where tear gas or smoke bombs just start flooding the building, and it looks like that fight is getting interrupted as the guards are going to start swarming the building, and things aren't looking good for our heroes. And Rita then says to Lauren by saying, it looks like we're both trapped. I have a proposition. Your powers, my magic, a team up, if you will. And Lauren says, are you offering me a deal? And Rita's reply, I love her reply here where she says, my dear, I'm offering you a team, but it starts with you, Fords. And Lauren's like, do it. So Rita begins chanting her magic spell by saying, a Power Ranger you once were, to become stronger than you once were before. And with my magic and elements combined, welcome now, Ranger Prime. So yeah, that was Power Rangers Prime issue 3. Once again, another solid issue by Melissa and the team. And it looks like things will definitely start picking up even more when issue 4 drops next month in February, so definitely stay tuned for that. But what are your thoughts on Power Rangers Prime issue 3? What are your predictions moving forward? Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, and bye.